So, hello everybody. Thank you very much for joining our talk after lunchtime. I hope we don't get you too sleepy. So let's just go in. Our topic is today monitoring at one of the largest retail groups in the world. And we want to show you a bit what we're doing on a daily basis.
Yeah, I'm Matthias. I'm a monitoring consultant from Consol in Munich. Maybe some of you know this company. We're here with the whole monitoring team.
Yeah, Tobias Kempf. I'm a solution architect at the Schwarz Group. My domain is monitoring. I'm involved in pretty much all monitoring topics that we have in the Schwarz Group.
Okay, what do we want to show? We want to show to you just a first small introduction to what these two companies are doing, then a bit of the strategy of monitoring from the Schwarz Group, a bit technical deep dive with which tools we're monitoring and the landscape we are using. Then the latest baby in the monitoring environment, it's called Space. It's some playwright-based end-to-end monitoring. A bit of how we sell and marketing to the customers, and this is the marketing and selling eggs and apples to the end customers in the shops. This is how we sell the monitoring into the countries and take care that the monitoring administrators be with us and support us. And a small slide of operating, how intensive is it to operate such a large company. Yeah, Consol is a small IT company based in Munich. We have 5 locations, 2 in Germany, 1 in Poland, Krakow, Vienna, and San Francisco. We are 260 employees. Most of them are developers. We have a small monitoring team with over 20 years of experience in monitoring, or basically in open source monitoring. We are part of many of the tools you're using right now and part of the community nearly from the beginning.
Yeah, about the Schwarz Group. I don't know if many of you know the Schwarz Group, but probably a lot of you know our sister companies, let's say. We are Lidl Kaufland for our external partners, the Schwarz Production, which produces our internal goods like the Saskia water, Freeway Coke, and so on that we sell in the stores. We have a Pre-Zero, which is our recycling department. We are actually also one of the largest recycler in Europe. Second largest. And the part that I'm located in is the Schwarz Digits. We are the IT resource in the group. Overall, groups together, we are over 570,000 employees. We have 13,700 stores located all around the world, mainly in Europe, but we also have stores and so on in the US and offices in Asia. We have a lot of customers, and I think a lot of you are too. And yeah, our revenue, our fiscal year euro sales was over 150 billion last year. The Schwarz Digits division is, as I said, our IT department, let's say. It consists of additional IT sub-companies that we have. We are over 7,500 IT and digital experts. We offer over 1,200 solutions to our customers, internally and externally, and we have 34 IT divisions or units worldwide. So our first topic would be the monitoring strategy that we have at the Schwarz Group. As we are a big company, we have a lot of structure around it, and I want to show it a bit to you. First, we identified a bit the big needs that we have. We differentiate between a functional monitoring, which is more like business monitoring and so on, and the technical monitoring, which is more like the infrastructure monitoring, the stacks, our cloud infrastructure, and so on. As you see, we have a lot of tools in our portfolio, and we are offering these tools from my department as well. Our big goal of the strategy is to make our customers happy. That's, I think, the most important part. And for this, we have like a plan, it's called. I hope everybody can read it, but it's open source first, but not only. So we try to offer in each and every category that we want to monitor an open source tool as a standard, but as, additionally a proprietary tool for extension if needed. This is really our main goal to sell to the customer from internal. But still, everything comes together in Grafana. We have a very, very large Grafana instance and installations and setup, and we bring all those tools there together. So it's really important to have it like also for like management or for overview or to interact with different companies or different businesses that we have this one view or this one platform where we can all bring our data together and show it to our customers. And we provide more and more of our monitoring services in the monitoring appliance OMD, and that's a bit of the focus that we want to share with you today. It's the open source part of this strategy, let's say. Exactly. Yes, my part as well. Also, a bit of a look back. I was already here in 2017 on the OSMC. We also want to bit of recap what has changed since then. I think the biggest change, if I look at the picture, which is not that high quality, Matthias has changed the most, I think, depending on this build. We also know that a lot of things have changed around us. Cloud and all this community stuff and so on is more and more a topic that we want, but we still have those traditional monitoring stuff. Let's say the infrastructure monitoring, and our stores are, of course, stationary targets and so on. Our goals from then were store monitoring to implement. In 2017, we just started with it. Scaling is a big, big topic that we have. And establish a community inside of the Schwarz Group that we can better work together. That's a part that we also want to show again. If you're interested in the old talk in the OSMC archives, you can have a look on it. First, some of the current states, some KPIs that we have in our OMD environment. We currently monitor over 700,000 devices on it, and this is our like real host devices. Like as we are a retailer, we have a lot of specific things that we monitor. Like we monitor like tills in the stores, we monitor all the infrastructure in the stores, but as well classical in our data centers, in the warehouses, in cloud providers and stuff like this. That's why we have this very large amount. And we have 280 backends from Naemon where we monitor everything. And that's something we want to show you as well. We monitor it with over 5.7 million services, which is a lot, I guess. And we still have a very, very rapid increase of the service numbers. Year by year, we increase it by 40%. Our availability from our own monitoring tools is also very important. I think we are pretty okay with it, with our uptime and availability across all our services that we offer. It's really high. We have also as well a lot of users. So these are like real users that use our applications day by day. We use it in Thruk for the OMD or Nagios part, let's say, Naemon part, and Grafana as well. So we check all our systems over 1.6 billion times a day. Just to see it as well a bit, that's the growth over the last few years, and you see it's very, very linear. So we are still in a steady growth of our environment, and that's why scaling is a really, really important topic for us, so that we can handle all this workload, can handle everything. Cloud solutions are there, helping us, but our application and infrastructure part has to grow as well with it.
Yeah, let's have a look what tools we are using. Toby told already that we are using the OMD framework, which is maintained from console. These are the main components, which is Thruk and Grafana for the visualization, Naemon and Gearman as a part for the load distribution. We've also included Prometheus and Victorimetrics for the long-term storage, but on that point, Schwarz didn't use right now Victorimetrics, but it's included in the OMD framework, and Loki is inside for the monitoring of the OMD installations itself. The benefit of this framework is all tools are packaged into one package. You don't have to set up the tools by yourself each. All tools are pre-configured, so until you have installed this RPM, and for example, start the Prometheus or let the Prometheus start, you get already also the data source for Grafana in place, so you don't have to configure the base setup when you start on monitoring with OMD. OMD shipped with plenty of plugins and scripts, and all of them made it very easy to automate OMD instance with, for example, Ansible or Puppet. One of the main goals of the RPM is that it's totally, there are no difference between the OS where it runs on. We started this project at Schwarz in 2012 on SLES systems, I don't know, SLES, very old, and migrate in the meanwhile from SLES to RHEL 6 to RHEL 7, and currently we are migrating most of the monitoring servers to Rocky 9. And it doesn't matter because it's just the same package. We install it independent from the underlying OS. And the side concept, which ships with the OMD, ensure really easy updates, testings, and also the rollbacks of the servers itself. Here on the left side, you see a list of the Linux distributions where we currently build the OMD packages on. The OMD package includes just the standard components. In custom environments like Schwarz, we are delivering, we call it add-on package, because sometimes it's necessary that you deliver licensed software which aren't possible to deliver when you're open source or pure open source. For example, Oracle Enterprise agents or sub SDKs. And for that case, we are packaging an add-on package on top of the OMD. In that case, we have a bunch of Grafana plugins also pre-configured and tools and toys for the customized for Schwarz, where they are used to automate or make monitoring easy or provide APIs or whatever. Yeah, maybe it's a bit hard to read. We build the add-on packages in our build pipeline together with the nightly builds of the OMD. So we take care that the add-on package always fit to the base OMD package, and you could use both the pair of the base package and the add-on package, and both fits and both have the same build pipeline and the same checks. Just a few sentences to the side concept, to whom it may not know. OMD versions are installed in parallel. So you don't install an OMD over another, you install it parallel, have a site which is tagged or configured to just one version, and then if you do an update, you move this connection to the other version, and you don't lose the former version, the older version, and this made it very easy just to install a version, test it, migrate, or do an upgrade to the new version, and in case something went wrong or goes broken, just do a simple rollback, and yeah, you don't lose just a bit time, but nothing else. Okay, let's have a look on the architecture. The architecture is also built in 2012, so this is nearly over 10 years, 11 years old, but still in functional, still in place, and works well at like on the first day. We have 3 layers. We have the central view management. The central view is in the meanwhile a 3-node cluster where we handle all the over 14,000 Thruk users and the 8,000 Grafana users here on the top. This example is exactly the first requirement from 2012. So we had just to monitor the German Lidl company, just one country from the Lidl side, with the HQ, with different warehouses, and one location for the stores. The errors between are just SSL tunnels, and take care that we have a top-down for the view and a bottom-up, top-down for the configuration, and a bottom-up for the view. I show you later on. We differentiated not just the countries, we are differentiating also the companies, because you know, the main of you know that the Lidl store is slightly different from a Kaufland store, so they have different setups, different requirements, and so we have the same setup, the same architecture, but different checks. And the main company, Schwarz itself, haven't any stores, so they don't need warehouses, but they have office campuses, they have LAN parts, they have clouds, whatever. And here are the same architecture. We have a zone, maybe for a cloud, and the different parts of the cloud, or a zone is an office campus with the office network and the networks, or a zone could be the central firewalling with different DEM sets or whatever else. The monitoring is completely done in the both layers, zone and locations, with Naemon and Prometheus. The configuration is generated on the first layer, on the top layer, and distributed via Git repositories down to the locations. And the visibility, the view of the whole monitoring is in each zone on the top. So the country administrator, for example, here Lidl Germany or Kaufland Italy, I'm not sure, they don't have Italy. Maybe Austria, also not. But if they have Austria, the Austrian admin are able to view just his environment, his country, and he can also have a look from top. Maybe on the central Grafana we have also included some business solutions, some SAP databases, some stock informations, and in combination with the warehouse monitoring, you have totally complete view of what's going on. Yeah, this is the numbering. So we have just one central view, 53 zones currently with 226 locations, which just do the monitoring. All of them are independent. So if you have an interruption between the HQ and the stores, for example, the stores monitoring works well. There's no impact. All the discovered data are on the store. The only thing what happens is you couldn't have the view from top to down because there isn't any connection, and during the interruption you get no updates and no new configuration settings, but you have no interruption at all. Yeah, all the systems are virtual machines. We didn't have any hardware or any bare metal installation. The virtual machines are provided from the country or from the company parts, though that's not part of the monitoring team. The Lidl Germany, for example, requested a new monitoring for a warehouse. They provide us the virtual machine. We have an Ansible deployment for that with the base OS settings. Then after that, we install both of the packages. With both of the packages, we cover nearly 80% of the configuration of the system, and the rest will be done in Ansible scripts. So we have a very small amount of special Ansible scripts. The most is done by the packages. The features we are configuring, as you have seen, we have installations with Naemon and Prometheus, and also with installations with Grafana and Thruk, is done by metadatas. So the countries and the zones decide by the FQDN, for example, what services should be run on the system. Should it be a management node, or should it be a worker node for load distribution, or whatever. We have a global OMD environment, it's so called. So we use for each positioning in the architecture the same setup. It sounds a bit hard because a Gallinger worker node have just a couple of megabytes. Why is it necessary to install also on Prometheus and Thruk and whatever? But this gives us the possibility that we just enable services afterwards. So we don't have to install a new server, a new server at all. We just have to enable the servers on that point. If the country or the company part requests, for example, Prometheus, then we don't have to install it new. We just enable the service and the service is running. So all of the systems are identically, which made it very easy to maintain that, because if you have an error on one system, you can go pretty sure that the other 279 systems have the same error.
So, as said before, scaling is a very, very important part for us. So we have to grow. We're still growing. We grew in the past, and for this we have different mechanisms. One of our biggest stuff is that we have this big Thruk cluster where everything comes together. This has to be performant. This has to work. This has to be available. So this is a really critical part for us, because of a lot of people are depending on it. We're using quite heavily the API and stuff from Thruk to get set like down times, to export, import stuff, and so on. So this is really important. Everything is connected there. We use LMD for this. In the past, we used the predecessor for it, Shadow Naemon. No, it's LMD. It's a cache daemon. So Nearline from Console is the developer of it. He did also a talk about it some years ago, I think, on the OSMC. And this caches all the data, so that you have an in-memory stuff about everything, your data, and can visualize it. Also, we use a local log cache on the central point of view database for historical data, like reports and stuff like this. Here you have a small screenshot from our environment, for example, for Lidl Germany. So you can see here all the backends that are connected. We have in each location, and really every of these green dots or bubbles, wherever is a real OMD instance located in the specific locations. So we are always very close to the to-be-monitored device, so that we don't have much problems with network latency and stuff like this. For the Naemon part and Gearman parts, the scaling is as well very important. We use mod Gearman quite heavily for executing those checks. As you can imagine, stores probe, for example, from Lidl Germany with over 3,000 stores is very much bigger than from a smaller country like Lidl Slovenia or something like this. And for this, we use mod Gearman to scale, so we can add additional worker nodes depending on the load that we need. And this makes it very easy for us to scale also and grow and make sure that the monitoring is working when the country is expanding or add. The setup, as Matthias also said, is very automatically, so the effort for us is very, very low to maintain everything, to add, spin up additional workers and so on. And we manage everything by Ansible and so on, and it should be easy. To get in a bit more in the config management part of this everything, a big lesson learned that we have is that it's nearly impossible to have like one CMDB that has everything. And I think in ITIL and stuff like this, it's also really recommended to use different ones. And we really have the topic that we have different companies that that have to work together, and we have to offer the same solution to, but they have different quality of services as well. If we bought a new company or something, additional stuff gets added until it gets everything set up. It also can take time. And what we really learned from this is that we need some kind of monitoring source of truth. And that's really our goal, to make it, or is that what we achieved, to have like a central point of entry for all monitoring configuration, depending if it's Naemon or Prometheus stuff. We bring all together, bring it in the format that we want, that we need, but still make it customizable for the external, for our customers. They have to be able to connect themselves to this portal and option. They have to be able to manually change it. They have to be able to change it via APIs and stuff. So the usual, let's say, workflow about this is someone wants monitoring from us. We define what we can do together with them. They give us feedback and so on. And then we connect them to this self-serving or monitoring source of truth that we have. And the first few things are always like, I do it manually, but after time he does not want to do it, and automate it. Exactly.
Yeah, automating is also the generation of the configuration. Therefore, we're using Zosh. If you're interested in details on Zosh, there is a talk a couple of years ago from Gerhard, and also Zosh is in the 2017 archive of OSMC and the last talk from us. So we are generating on the central instance from all the data sources you've seen on the last slide. We do it top down, so each of the base location has its own JIT repository, and drill down. Multiple data sources, of course. And it takes approximately 3 minutes after a change in the database until the configuration is in place on the location on the lowest level of the monitoring. We have some parts where we do it in time, so when the CMDB is updated, we run the script. But for some bigger installation, this isn't possible, so it's enough when we do it just once in an hour to ask the CMDBs and deploy the new configuration. Automation is a big point, so we automate everything. But if you have a big company with many countries, there are some tiny countries, and there are sitting administrators, and an administrator isn't an administrator until you have things done by VI itself on the command line. It's possible. We have the possibility that for some rare reasons, the administrators in the country are able to do their own checks on the platform, and but it's very seldom, and mostly after a couple of weeks, they open a ticket and call, please, I have more than 2 items, do automation for me. We also deploy Grafana and Prometheus configurations. It's a kind of a bit hybrid monitoring. We deliver default Grafana dashboards because the Zosh is working with templates. So, for example, a standard Linux system ships with 8 or 10 checks, and for that setup of checks, we have a default dashboard which is shipped and deployed for all OMD instances, for all Grafana instances. The Zosh is also generating the scrape targets for the Prometheus, because we don't scrape just our own stuff. In the meanwhile, all Linux systems are shipped with an exporter environment, and this gives us the chance that we have like a reverse proxy for exporters. We have just one port opened. We have this port secured with the TLS certificates, and beyond this port, the server administrator can choose which exporter should be run, do it by himself. So and the big question is how we know what the administrators far away in the countries are doing. We discovered the exporter. So we shipped all of the servers of the exporter and ask every 30 minutes all the systems which exporters are running, and build the configuration, the target configuration for the exporters. So latest 30 minutes after an administrator activated a database exporter, node exporter, or whatever you want to see on this machine, the Prometheus start to scrape and the data flow. And it's getting more and more important. Oop.
So, additional point that we have and that we want to bring up is that we are using OMD for everything, and we have already this large OMD environment which is globally operative and so on. Then with this, we got the need to add an additional end-to-end website monitoring. With end-to-end monitoring, I mean the synthetic stuff, the click-based stuff, so not like a check HTTP or something, a real monitoring for this. For this, we integrated SPACE, which stands for Schwarz Playwright Automatic Checks Execution. Good name, I think. In OMD, it's based on Playwright. Playwright is an open source tool from Microsoft, actually, which allows you to have like the synthetic website monitoring. We offer with this as a monitoring as code infrastructure, or pipeline, let's say, that you can implement in our OMD environment, and makes it possible. You saw here a short GIF play around, what is Playwright. it's a small script that you can write. You can execute it then with Playwright, and this opens really like a Chrome browser, clicks through it, and so on, and does it things. We have written our own Visual Studio Code extension as well to make it easier for our customers to use. And yeah, as I said, we have integrated it in OMD, but we have the differentiation that the simple certificate checks or just an uptime of this website we do still with Naemon, and everything that should be more in-depth we do with Space, like our web shops and so on. The architecture behind this, we have an Azure DevOps, a repository with pipeline that sends it to our staging environment, deploys it in our OMD environment. There we have this whole source setup and so on to generate, in the end, really Nagios checks or Naemon checks, distributed to the right OMD probe that we have. And there we have Naemon running that executes a plugin, that executes, in the end, a podman container for each and every check or every Playwright run that we have, and yeah, puts out the feedback and so on, and monitors the website. The benefit is that we have this large environment. We can have this globally distributed, so we can have the same check done from different locations and compare the results to it. So this is a common thing that we have, that the guys say, we have here this new application, it's a website, it's located in one of our central data center, everything is fine, and a country in the little US, for example, says, oh, the performance is really bad, the website is slow, and the guys here, the developers in Germany say, everything is good for me, it's fine. And here you have then the proof to show them really, this is slow and so on. And you can compare it together. We have built some Grafana visualizations for it, some dashboards that are easy to use. I think everybody should know the DORA metrics and so on. That gives you feedback about everything, just to show you a bit about it. As I said, in the end, there are Naemon checks, but our customers mostly work with the Grafana dashboard, but you can still visualize it and use the alerting part and everything from Naemon out of it, which makes it very easy to use for us. Playwright itself offers this reports that you have. There's in the end just some HTML background with screenshots and stuff like this, and it also contains like a trace which has really like the whole click path in it, where you can have like real in-depth analysis about your website. That you see the source code, you see the individual elements of your website, you can see where it clicked, and you can see what took how long, where it failed, what was exactly the endpoint. So you really see like this was the error in this specific case, and not like you cannot reproduce it because for me it's always working. So the next really important part for us is the internal marketing and customer contact. For us, nearly all our customers are internal in our group, but our group is very large, and it's always hard to make knowledge available for everybody. So it's not an easy task, and that's something we really wanted to work on, and which to show you a bit. So first you have to think about who is my customer, and you have to accept that you have a lot of different customers for your monitoring solutions. You have very different customers with very different needs. Some are like very technical guys that want to have their infrastructure monitoring just in place. Some are like developers that want to have in-depth monitoring of their applications, and some are maybe managers that want to see if is everything green and then it's good, let's say. And that's something you have to keep in mind also when you propagate your applications. You have to fit to their needs. The technical skills, of course, vary very widely. You have some new guys that come directly from university who want to have the latest, coolest stuff. You have guys that work a very long time with a specific tool and want to work with this tool for the future. And that's something you have to also keep in mind. And what we really found is you have to enable them. You cannot do everything for them. You have to make it possible to have a self-service to them. They have to be able to look into it on their own, in their own pace, with their own skill, and be flexible about it. That's really an important part. Also important is like communication. We are really focused on building like communities that we work together with you, that we offer and request contact person. And that's also important. It's not that you just offer some people that they can contact. You also have to request like contact persons. We have a strong network with our country colleagues that we have to contact and rely on. We notice stuff when issues in one country appear more often than in the other. We have to ask them. We have to be in contact with them. Be proactive as well about it, and keep the systems or everything running in the end. You have to work together, of course, and dedicated communication channels, as I said, are really important. Have Slack, Teams channel, whatever, where they can just pop their questions in and be able to respond to them. Also make it possible that they can communicate with each other, because they often have the same issues that you just don't see. And if one can solve it, maybe the other ones can help, can benefit from it. Documentation, I think, is something we all should know about. And regular blog entries to be present, let's say, to let them know that you're still working on everything, that you're improving stuff, show them what you're working on, because you cannot do everything. And so, these are some key parts that we have identified for working together. As I said before, we have this monitoring expert group, which are like people in the country that have interest in monitoring and want to participate and want to bring the monitoring as a whole forward. They're mostly experts in their own field. Some are like business guys, some are more like infrastructure guys, and they have their own views. And if they interact with each other, it's really great to see how they work together, what comes out of it, and they always have a view that you can't have, because you don't know all of their pains and stuff. What we also, our news part, let's say, we really like the idea of hackathons, where we pick up a dedicated topic and work together with some specific users about it and try to achieve a goal that we can share with everybody. So that you really have also not just a feeling, but you're really providing some value there. We have a dedicated topic, we sort it out, we work together, we bring the monitoring knowledge, they bring the knowledge about the application, about the topic that you choose, and then you can benefit from it. It's also important to share knowledge, because a lot of time they just don't know what is possible, because you cannot know everything. And of course, trainings are really important to make it regular training for your tools. Not everybody can know all the tools. Not everybody knows how to build a Grafana dashboard and so on. Not everybody has to know, but you can share knowledge with it. You also have to keep in mind that they will have different skill levels, and with different skill levels you should offer as well different trainings. So we have like basic trainings for Grafana, like we really start at the bottom. We have like how to create a dashboard, what is a dashboard, how can I create a panel, what are time series and stuff like this. But you also need some more advanced stuff, like how I can make the really cool dashboards, how can I use do the specific things and so on, so that they can work on their own as well. And everything should be hands-on and documented. Yo.
Yeah, the last part, then we already finished, so it's time to wake up slightly. Operating. How many people are necessary to do these jobs? The internal team for all the tools has 16 team members, but they do from Splunk over Grafana to the OMD and the Nagios stuff. There are 2 external partners because it's a 2-vendor strategy. So there is always one of the partners in charge. And the doings of the monitoring and observability solutions team, strong word, they offer all the technical products as a solution. So if the requests from the parts or from the countries for a new monitoring tool, they try to fit these requirements into the existing tools. if that doesn't work, or if there may be a new tool out in the wild, then they are responsible to bring this tool into the monitoring environment. They also handle the whole contracts and billings, the contracts to the vendors, and also the contracts and billings for the internal customers. And we are dealing approximately around about 800 support tickets per month. This sounds a bit high, but this starts by just interface of a switch port went down and I didn't receive an email. So this could happen, and the upper end is we need a new setup for a new country. It's just one ticket. So we have a very wide range of tickets, what could happen, but approximately 800 tickets go through the whole monitoring environment and keeps this stuff running. There is a 24/7 support, luckily by the Schwarz IT itself, not by us. But I think that is usable. Okay, then we're mostly done with the main part. Now it's really time to wake up because the Q&A is follow-up. Thanks to Toby for joining or for having the trip for the last 11 years, and it's really a pleasure.
Yeah, and thank you very much to be on the right, let's say.
So thank you very much. Are there any questions? One moment.
Thank you for this very good conversation. And one question. You mentioned Splunk. Why you use Splunk and you don't use Loki?
We have some legal restrictions, let's say, where we have to archive a lot of things, security logs, audit logs, and stuff like this. As well, yes.
More questions, please?
Are you doing something like tracing, like open telemetry tracing?
We really look into this currently. That we are currently not doing it on a bigger scale. We have individual teams that are already doing it, using Jaeger and stuff like this. But we don't have like a global solution. But we're really looking into it. This open telemetry stuff is really interesting for us because it goes in the same direction that we want to go with the monitoring everything. And yeah, we're looking into it, not have it on a larger scale.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, Tobias and Matthias.